It is that time of year again where for some people, boating season is starting to come to an end, and many of those people are starting to pull out some of those other toys and get them ready for the seasons that are yet to come. But for the rest of us, we're still in that highlight of our twilight watching that boating season come to a close. Now, there are some things some of the Googans have probably learned over this boating season, and this one's one of the first rules, which is it's always nicer to have a friend who owns a boat versus owning the boat. If you ever wonder what the two experiences are actually like, this is the perfect example. Right here, things going wrong on a boat, this is what the owner looks like. But then here in a moment, you'll get to see what happens when you're just out on your friend's boat, enjoying life, living your best life, because this is what it looks like in the same encounter when you're just the friend out there on somebody else's boat. Now, another thing Googans may have learned this year is that gas got high and we had to come up with some ingenious ways to try and get the boat around using less fuel. Now, not all of us Googans were that lucky. Some of us had to pay for fuel on the boat, so we came up with some interesting names.
Tighten your anus with it. You should probably tighten your anus down because that thing's just flopping there, bud. Dude. And then you flip your straps right because tighten your anus ain't really sticking there.
Now, one way some of the Googans found to save some money was going out and getting a sailboat instead, but some of them learned the lesson the hard way that's not always all the fun it's cracked up to be. Others found ways to burn more fuel, like running with the line still on. Now, of course, these high fuel prices do hurt, but there are other things that hurt worse out on the water. Now, one way to save a little money in fuel is making yourself invaluable out there on the boat, so much so that the captain never asks you for fuel again because he just wants you there. Or you can save money over at the boat ramp by limiting the amount of times you get to back the truck up. Or you can save money in gas by just finding shorter routes to get your boat down to the boat ramp. I mean, sometimes you gotta find extra ways to get money to put fuel in the boat, so one of those things you can do is by trying to keep the boat clean, so you can cut back on those costs of having to clean the boat or paying a detailer to come and do it. I don't typically recommend trying to do it this way though. Now, of course, saving money isn't always as easy as you might think out there in the water, but there are a few times where you'll get a good opportunity to be able to do so. For example, let's say your anchor gets stuck and you gotta find a way to get it back. Well, those are expensive. If you can get it back out of the water, fortunately you just save yourself some money. But then, of course, I guess the easiest way to save money in boating is, well, not to buy the boat at all. Now, one thing I definitely don't recommend that you try and save money in boating on is going to be insurance, because you never quite know when things are going to go wrong. You might find yourself upside down like this crew. Now, of course, insurance doesn't just come in handy when you find yourself upside down on the water. It'll come in handy when you wind up running into anything on the water. And of course, down in the boat ramps, it's bound to happen. I still always say this one about boating, boat ramps in general. Basically, if you boat long enough, you're going to hit something. And especially down at the boat ramp, I don't care how good you are, something at some point is going to catch you off guard, and you will wind up running into a dock, running into a boat, and that's why the golden rule exists of never approaching anything any faster than you're willing to hit it, because at some point in time, if you do, you're going to hit it. Kind of like this crew. But as you can see here, we're trying to throw a little power at it to overcompensate, but wind and current will mess you up and throw you off every single time, and more power is not always the answer, but let's see how our crew handles it. I mean, at this point, they're probably thinking, what more could possibly go wrong? But that's one thing I will tell you about boating. There's always more that can go wrong. I mean, at least that guy didn't wind up over the falls, unlike our guy we see here, who was out on a cruise ship and somehow did wind up over the falls when the water slide broke. And it even happens to the pros. It's not just us weekend warriors who get out there on the water and things go wrong, we find ourselves in bad spots. Even the guys who make a living getting out there on the water doing it, from time to time, will find themselves between a rock and a hard place. Now, the biggest difference, of course, between us and the pros when we get out there and find ourselves in bad spots is, well, the pros train for this. These guys go out there, run drills, and try and make sure that they're prepared for any situation. So when something goes wrong, they know exactly what to do. Kind of like here. But no matter what, when you get out there and are having a bad time on the water, the good news is these guys are there to help you as well. Thanks for watching, crew. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Googans of the Week. If you ever see anything crazy happening out on your waterways, be sure to hit us up on Facebook or Instagram and let us know, and you might see your stories over here. And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button. If not, we're coming to steal your drain plug.